What's going on, Dolphins? It is your boy Dillon, and I got some updates for you already. I know I made a video a little earlier today, but we got some more updates already, so let's go ahead and get right into that. This first bit comes from ESPN and sources: NFL camps to open on time pending okay from players. Pending an agreement from players, NFL training camp will open as scheduled next week, sources told ESPN's Adam Schefter. The league held a meeting with coaches, general managers, presidents, and ownership on Friday, and it concluded with clubs approving training camp, roster rules, matters addressing operations during the coronavirus pandemic, and economics. Among the agreements by the NFL teams, sources told ESPN, the 80-man roster deadline is August 16th before padded practice, but teams can have 90-man rosters if they go with a split squad setup. Some teams have plans to split squads and use stadium and regular practice facilities. The salary cap remains the same for 2020 at $198.2 million per team, and there is a cap floor of $175 million in 2021. So it would be a significant dip in 2021, with the possibility of it being higher based on revenue streams. There will be a fund established to pay back any benefits eliminated as a result of COVID-19 up to 2023, as well as paying back any lost guarantee money to players. That one seems kind of, I don't know. I would want to know a lot more about that one, because I would just want to know a lot more about that one. That one's way too vague to me at this point. I would need more details for sure. I mean, that first bit about being able to, in essence have a 90-man roster, I'm in favor of it because, on the one hand, in favor of it because I want those guys to have their jobs. I don't want them to just, I don't want 320 guys to just lose their jobs. So that's good. However, it does sound as if then they would be having two squads in two different locations. I don't know how good of an idea that is. I would want some more details on that, but that one seems kind of like a a neutral, but maybe leaning towards the right direction when it comes to like the economics part of it. The health and safety part of it, I'm not sure. The salary cap, it's good that it's going to stay the same amount this year, so that's positive. Obviously, dipping to 175, that only hurts the players. Because then the players are going to be told, well, you got to restructure. Well, you got to take pay cuts, right? It's not like, or they're just going to be like, okay, we'll replace you, right? So they'll always be able to find younger, cheaper guys that'll come in and replace the high paid stars if they don't take massive pay cuts. So that's only going to hurt the players, right? So not particularly favorable there. And then, like I said, that last one, I definitely need a lot more details because, I mean, we'll see. And we'll have to see how it plays out, because we'll have to actually see, like, when, if and when things, do get shut down, like, do they open training camps and are they successful without having breakouts and blah, blah, blah? Do they have a season? Are they able to have a full season? If not, when does it get shut down? How does it get shut down? What are the different ramifications? What are the, so there's still a lot that goes into that particular one. So I'm not really sure on how to feel about that. Because there's a lot that needs to play out with that one. The NFLPA on Friday said its executive board voted unanimously to approve the proposed changes to the CBA. The vote now goes to the NFLPA Board of Player Representatives, which is scheduled for Friday afternoon. So this afternoon. As of Thursday night, the NFL and NFLPA had been negotiating on 3 key points: rules for training camp acclimation period, which I haven't seen details exactly on, other than there was the set amount of days for strength and conditioning, which I guess is what they're going with. So the previous, I think it's 21 days of strength and conditioning with like 10 days of like no pads, and then like 14 days of pads, or reverse that or something like that. I don't remember off the top of my head. It's in a previous video for sure, but I think that's what they're going with there. Let's see, procedures via which players could opt out of the season for coronavirus related reasons, and what would happen to the contracts of those who do. I don't know all the specific, minutiae of that. But I guess they came up with, some kind of agreement on that and how to handle the league's long-term finances, salary caps. And, we just talked about that a bit and the loss of revenues. I mean, again, I personally believe that the NFL and the owners should just take all of the financial hit because they can. And it wouldn't even dent their resources. Anyway, Tuesday is the reporting date for all teams except for Houston and Kansas City, who report earlier because they are scheduled to play the Thursday night opener. All right, well, we'll see how that goes. Just real quick, couple reports from CBS, hopefully, to clarify on a couple of these things. So, NFL considering bigger camp rosters. So, to get some further details on that, on how that it works exactly, NFL proposes caveat that allows full 90-man roster into training camp increases practice squad tally. One of the biggest concerns going into late July amid ongoing COVID-19 pandemic was just how many players an NFL team would be allowed to carry into training camp. Real quick though, so I will say it is still there are still financial ramifications there for the players, because if I'm not mistaken, because while they might then allow 90 players in total, in essence with the two squads, whatever, those players, those 10 players would be on the practice squad as opposed to the active roster. And I'm pretty sure there is a pretty significant pay difference between being on the practice squad and the active roster. Anyway, somebody can correct me if I'm wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure that's the case. There had long been discussions of reducing the roster count from 90 men for the first time in over a decade to an undetermined number, rumors and reports varying between 75 and 85 players. It appears the NFL and the NFLPA may be willing to split the difference and allow 80 men in camp per team, but a new proposal from the league gives teams the ability to sidestep the reduction, which itself has yet to be approved by the NFLPA. In a conference call on Friday, the league reportedly proposed permitting teams to carry the full 90-man head count per Chris Mortensen of ESPN, assuming they don't have more than 80 in one building at one time. In other words, if teams can split practices between two or more facilities, they'll be able to meet the requirement cap of 80 men without having to cut into their rosters. Otherwise, they'd have to cut 10 players before August 16th, when padded practices are slated to begin. So, either their choices are either you have to cut 10 guys outright, which I'm not really in favor of. It's a double-edged sword, to be honest, because you want less people to be exposed and infected, so there's that. But at the same time, this thing is still going on. The economy is still, tanking, etc., etc. And I want those guys to have paychecks and, the ability to live through this thing financially as well. So it's a double-edged sword there. But then the other choice is if you have to spread your guys out between multiple facilities, which then I would think increases the chance of exposure and outbreaks and so on and so forth. But that'll allow you to have 10 more guys. I mean, I'm not sure though if it's not quite clear if they would be considered practice squad or actually on the roster. But I think that matters, I'm pretty sure, and I think there is a pay difference. This would be big news for fringe players on the bubble, be it veterans on prove-it deals or undrafted rookies, because it allows them to have a shot at impressing their respective coaching staff in a world where there also won't be a preseason. Without the latter and facing a mandatory cut down of rosters, the handicap on newly signed head coaches, example Matt Rule in Carolina, Mike McCarthy in Dallas, coordinators also increased, seeing as they have already been without mini camp to begin assessing their new teams. Yeah, like I said, I mean, obviously there are other compounding issues that go into this. Instead, teams like the Dallas Cowboys, as one example, can split practice between facilities they have access to, which can see McCarthy holding one practice at the Ford Center in Frisco, Texas, and another at AT&T Stadium in Arlington. Additionally, the NFL ratified the NFL. I think that's would only increase the likelihood of disaster. But, you know, whatever. We'll see how it plays out. Additionally, the NFL ratified the NFLPA's proposal to expand the size of the practice squad roster per Mark Maska of the Washington Post, which was set to nudge upward from 10 to 12 under the terms of the new collective bargaining agreement. So I'm guessing those players would be considered on the practice squad. The increased practice squad size further helps teams not only evaluate but retain talent they'd otherwise be forced to prematurely lose if held firm to the originally installed and or proposed roster rules. There are still items on the table both sides must agree upon, such as salary cap resolutions, blah, blah, blah. But we may have, you know, at least temporary answers to that. And then real quick, just to get into the salary cap a little more, also from CBS, the NFL proposes 2021 NFL salary cap floor at $175 million due to COVID-19 pandemic. So the NFL salary cap is close to being set for 2021, and teams will certainly have plenty of maneuvering to figure out. Jonathan Jones of CBS Sports is reporting the 2021 NFL salary cap floor will be set at a minimum of $175 million, raised from $165 million via league proposal to the NFLPA. This is a huge hit to the expected 2021 salary cap prior to the COVID-19 pandemic, which was estimated at $210 million. When the 2020, and you know, these player contracts inflate every year. So you know how there's every year there's like, and we have some of them, right? Byron Jones. See, and this is part of the reason why I said their entire plan is going to be destined to fail, because there's something that's going to be thrown into the mix that fucks it up. I didn't know it was going to be a pandemic, but this is what it turned out to be. And so we have Byron Jones and Xavier Howard, two of the highest paid corners in the league. But guess what's going to happen? Because now the salary cap, as it stands, is going to drop significantly. It was supposed to be $210 million. Now it's going to be $175. That is $35 million less than what it should have been. So players like that will be told, hey, you got to take pay cuts. All these high-paid veteran Eric Flowers and Kyle Van Noy and Shaq Lawson, all these guys that they brought over that they paid massive contracts to, they're gonna have to take pay cuts. The team is gonna go to, and it's gonna cause problems, right? I mean, part of the other problem for the Dolphins though is that they gave massive guarantees, and all of it's pretty much up front. So these guys are gonna get their guarantees. So they might be all right with it, you know, and maybe they'll just, you know, try and get to a different team and jump ship and fucking bail before things get really bad. Also problematic for the Dolphins. But, you know, they're not going to make it through their contracts without having to restructure, because there's not going to be the money. There's just not going to be the money. The teams are not going to have it. And so look, I've been trying to say this to you guys for months and months and months, and it's going to play out. I mean, it's undeniable. You know, that it will become a problem going forward, right? So anyway, when the 2020 salary cap was set at $198.2 million, one could have estimated the 2021 cap would be at least $210. Today's league proposal, if accepted, would set the 2021 cap floor at $175, Jones said via Twitter. Now, it could potentially go up, but that depends on the revenues, right? And the revenues are going to be trashed this year, especially because, like I said, my prediction is at some point, the league is going to have to shut down. And if the league does shut down prior to having a full season and postseason and Super Bowl, etc., then they will lose substantial amounts of money, right? Every week that they lose millions upon millions of dollars. So that's going to ensure, but if, let's say, the entire season gets shut down before even the first game, then there's even a possibility that $175 million, they might even try and be like, well, look, we lost so much money, we got to cut that even more. So I wouldn't put it past them. This cap decrease could significantly impact veterans on the back end of their contracts looking for a final contract, and players on the back end of their rookie deals looking for a big pay raise on their second contract. It could affect everybody. every one of the players. There will be no change to the 2020 cap under this proposal, but the minimum cap was raised from 165 to 175 million under this proposal. That's for next year. So it was proposed before at 165 million. They raised it another 10 million in their most recent proposal, but that's still obviously 35 million less than what it would be, and the players are going to take the hit there. The league also dropped its request for a salary cap reduction of 8 million in 2020, obviously because they didn't change it. If revenues are better than expected, the minimum salary cap could increase. They're not going to be. I'm telling you that. They're not going to be. This is all contingent on the league potentially having games with fans. Training camp will also start on time if the players ratify the current proposal, which appears to be coming based on this statement released by the NFLPA. The NFLPA Executive Committee voted unanimously to recommend the proposed changes to the CBA. So we'll see, and we'll see how it all plays out. But look, man, I say it every time. I hope I'm wrong. But I've been telling y'all the disaster that's been coming, and so far I've been getting proven right on some things already, and it looks like I'm slated to be proven right on some other things as well. So, but we'll hash it all out as we go. What I'm right on, I'll state factually. I don't really care to take credit. I want the facts to be there, and I do like to have, accurate evaluation. So I'll state it, and I'll keep pushing. If I'm wrong, I'll admit it, and I'll revise, and I'll reevaluate. Otherwise, or unfortunately though, I think that I'm probably going to be proven right pretty significantly when it comes to not only this season and my predictions on how the season's going to go, both from the aspect of the coronavirus and whether or not the season will get shut down, and if there is any season at all, how the Dolphins will perform. I don't think they're going to perform like an NFL squad. I really don't, especially with the way training camp's getting all fucked up. If training camp got shut down, not a chance. There's no way that this squad is gonna perform well at all. It's just not possible because they have too many problems. All new coaching staff, almost an entirely new team, new playbooks. They have no time together, etc., 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 right? So there's all of that. But also my predictions about the Dolphins' overall plan and why, what they did was both unnecessary and not going to work. Their tanking philosophy, the mass exodus and the purge, the players that they got rid of in particular, and the things that they're doing outside of the Dolphins organization now for their other teams, including my boy Ryan Tannehill, and then the guys that they picked up. Their first draft was underwhelming at least, and the second one is not looking all that great. And then, they did one of the same foolish things that they always do, that Stephen Ross loves to do, be a big spender in free agency. That's appearing to look like it's going to come back to bite them in the ass in a major way. And it just, these guys are not going to be able to develop. They're not going to be able to fucking get cohesion, even if they, even if they prove me wrong in that, Robert Hunt and Austin Jackson and Noah Igbenogene, if they prove me wrong and those guys are not reaches, because I think they're all reaches, I would have done things way differently, as you guys know. But if they prove me wrong on all that, then they just don't have an opportunity to mesh because they're missing so much time, especially if training camp gets shut down. Anyway, that's how I'm going to get up out of here. I hope you guys appreciate my perspective. If you do, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you hit the bell if you want to get the alerts. Share my channel and videos with your friends and family. Leave your questions, comments, and concerns down in the comment section. And of course, as always, make sure you follow me on Twitter at Dillon Tartaro. And with that, I am out. I'll see y'all soon. Fins up.